Good evening and welcome to the Right Wing Podcast. I'm super excited to get this started. This is episode 1, and it is late. I'm planning on posting this tonight. It is already 9:54 at time of recording. This is late for me. If y'all don't know, I usually go to bed at 8:30, 8 o'clock if I can. 7 o'clock. But, we had some breaking news today, and it's my wife's birthday, and I thought, you know what? Let's go speak on it, I was already up, out, late, reading, doing some research. This breaking news came in. I'm super excited just to share it with y'all. What's going on? What's happening right now in this world politically? What's going on? I think this is super important for us to understand. I think it's super important to understand just a Christian-minded, right-wing take on what's going on in the world. I think that's kind of what this podcast is going to be about. It's going to be about true right-wing politics. I hope you enjoy it. I'm ready to dive right in. If you didn't see the news, the Wall Street Journal posted Trump is in the Epstein files. Big surprise. Nobody saw that coming. It's not really that big of a surprise, let's be honest. We've all been talking about it. We've all been speculating. Why is he covering this up? What's going on? He's in them. His donors are in them. Wall Street Journal posted this. This is breaking news. I've seen several videos of Epstein talking, one particular in 2010, where they asked if he had ever talked to Trump in the presence of a minor girl, and he said he pleads the fifth. Is this criminalizing? No. I don't know if this is exactly what Wall Street is talking about, but I'm thinking this report came from within. Somebody from the inside saw Trump on the list, saw what he was doing to cover things up, saw what he was doing to stop this vote in the House. He does not want this to be released. He knows it's detrimental for him. And he's taking whatever steps he can in the meantime to cover it up. I mean, what's worst case scenario for him at this point? If he's on the list, if that officially dropping has to be worst case scenario for him. I mean, are we thinking something else could happen that's worse? I mean, yeah, cover it up. I mean, does he come out truthful? Maybe that would be a better option. If he came out and said, hey, I'm on the list, I flew with Epstein, but I didn't do any of this. Is that better or worse? I don't know. Some people value honesty. Some people would rather him try to cover it up. Tough situation. But ultimately he put himself in the position that he is in. And now we're essentially 2 months into this cover-up since this news came to him. It was reported that in May is whenever it was shown that he was on the list. So if he was on the list in May, it's been about 2 months or so, he's been trying to cover this thing up. He's been trying to get ahead of the game to cover this up. Not the best look. Had he come clean in May, he may have had a better approval rating. He may have had a better go at things, right? And what's next for Trump? It's a tough look. He's pretty much pushing for his Congress to go on this extended recess, their summer break. And, he's going to have several weeks of what we assume is going to be kind of dull. Maybe this is good for him. Maybe it lets this news die down. Maybe it's bad for him where nobody has anything to talk about. And so this is the first thing we talk about. I've said before, I voted for Trump twice. 3 times, actually. Well, I guess twice. I wasn't old enough then. But, my point being, I supported Trump through 3 elections. And the last 6 months have shown us Trump is not what he said that he was going to be for us, right? We got to think about that. And what's next for Trump? Does he try to make good on these promises he's made? Think about the promises. Think about the things that he said he was going to do, and he has not accomplished them, right? It's not good. And because of this, because of false promises, poll comes out today, Trump is down 55 points with young voters under 30. 55 points. Let's talk about that. 55. Now, I will say this. I was misled at first, thinking if his approval rating was a 65, now it's a 10. It was a 55-point swing. I think that's important to note. But regardless, that's a major swing. I believe it had him at 55% approval, 45% disapproval in this age group, under 30. And now he's something like 70% disapproval. So it's still a big jump. Don't get me wrong. That's a big deal. But you see how he's handled these Epstein files. You see how he's handled the Israel situation. You see how he's handled immigration, which we're going to get into later. And how can you not be upset? How can you, as someone that voted for him, say, this is what I voted for? If you voted for this, I don't know what to say, because he's not living up to what he said he was going to be. I mean, that should be first and foremost. He's not living up to what he said that he was going to be. So what happens for him? What does he do? Does he change his stance now? Does he get more right-wing, I guess you'd call it, and actually hold up to these promises? Is he going to deport more? Is he going to actually stop wars and not, go bomb new countries? What do you do? I think he's at a real standstill now. His next 6 months are going to be super telling. I mean, he got off to a slow start. Let's be honest, a slow start. Same thing he did in his first term. Slow start, then nothing gets done. Because guess what happens after the next 6 months? You start preparing for midterms. Because let's be honest, he knows he's about to get wrecked. Does it happen every time? Pretty much. Midterms are the opposite of what the election are. That's common. This midterm, I think, is going to be brutal on Republicans. He's gotten all this majority, but he hadn't done anything with it. Same as the first term. He has a majority. He comes in, and we're seeing the true character of Trump as president. We're seeing the fact that he's not really for us. He hasn't drained the swamp. He is the swamp right now. He's a politician. I mean, that's what we have to realize. That's what we have to think about. At this point, he is a politician. He took a lot of money from donors. First time, I would argue maybe he wasn't quite as much of a politician, but he's a politician now. He is a politician. So what's the next one? What are we going to do? And speaking of things that he's been weak on, let's talk about immigration. I mean, right now with immigration, Trump has deported less than 60,000. That's 6 months. You're talking about 10,000 a month. So at that rate, I mean, he's not even going to deport 500,000 in 4 years. Not even 500,000 in 4 years at the rate that he's going right now. Now, let's compare this, all right? That's in 4 years. Obama, in his first year, in 2009, managed to deport 393,000 illegal immigrants. This is Obama. Obama, the Democrat. All right? Obama, the man that, for whatever reason, the Democrats consider to be like Jesus. Right? I don't have that view. I mean, I think there's only one Jesus, obviously, but and he's our Lord and Savior. He's God. But we're talking about Trump compared to Obama here. Trump, mega Republican, right? Supposedly. He's going to deport everybody. He's going to come in. He's going to deport. We're getting rid of it. We're securing our borders. We're making our nation safe. And then he only deports 10,000 people a month. Now, how do they cover all this stuff up as far as media goes? Okay, well, you have all these ICE rallies, right, where people are protesting ICE. What was it? No Kings rally. That was stupid. Come on, guys. That was dumb. I mean, I don't understand what the point of that was. You publicize all these ICE raids. Oh, my God, they're going everywhere. They're getting them. Come on. Look at the numbers. It's not happening. It's not happening. And that 60,000, that's just the number that have been put. They haven't technically been deported yet. That's just the numbers that have been arrested and are in ICE facility type situations now. That's a pretty low number. That's not exactly what we signed up for. And I want to be clear before we go any further on what my immigration views are here. I think it's important to understand that when we look at immigration, it's a simple issue. It is a simple issue. And it's just extrapolated. That's the whole point, is they want something to argue about. They want something to be in the news. When I say they, I mean government, I mean media, I mean all these people. They need something to argue about, to be strong on. Because, if Trump comes in and like, hey, I have an issue, I have a way to fix immigration, nobody's really going to listen. But if he comes in and says, we're going to deport all these people, it's going to be awesome. Okay, well, what do you think's going to happen? He's going to have a lot of people support it. He's going to have a lot of people mad about it, but it's very much no publicity is bad. And I think that's kind of the viewpoint that most people take. So, my viewpoint on immigration, I don't think it's some mystery that we need illegals to be documented. I'm sorry, I don't think that's racist. And I am not speaking about just Mexico. I don't care if it's India, I don't care if it's Britain, I don't care if it's Canada, I don't care where they're coming from. China, Korea, they gotta be documented. We gotta have a record of who these people are. Where are they going? I think it should be a whole lot easier to get here legally though. You know, we're talking about years, we're talking about tens of thousands of dollars that these people don't have. They are trying to make a better life for themselves. Who can blame them? Look at some of the living conditions down in Mexico. You know, that's where most of the immigration comes from. And it's rough, right? You have criminals who almost run the place now. Somehow you have a Jew in charge of Mexico. Don't know how that happened. It's rough. I mean, I get it. You want to come to America, you want to create a better life. So I'm all for immigrants, don't get me wrong. We have some great immigrants, especially in this area in North Georgia here. We have some great immigrants that do great things. I've seen some great construction work. I've seen great workers. I've seen great people in general, whether it's church, whether it's out in public. They're immigrants, and I get that, and I love immigrants. Don't get me wrong here, but we got to document people, all right? We can't just have people who are undocumented, not paying any sort of income tax, not doing these things, running around. I think that's fair. I think it's a fair trade-off here. We shouldn't have as many illegals, but come on, like let's make it easier for them to be legal. I'm not saying be citizens. That's a whole nother ballgame. But to be here legally, trying to make a better life for themselves, give them a potential path to citizenship, I think we owe them. We don't owe them. We can give them that. It's a privilege. I don't think it's necessarily a right that, hey, you just get to be here, but it's a privilege. Now, you come here, say we make it easier to be here legally. You start committing violent crimes, guess what? Sorry, you're gone. That's fair. Don't come here and cause issues. That's where we get into all the stuff with gang members, with drugs, and things like that. You have violent criminals. I hate that. And there's violent criminals in every population group. I'm not saying it's just in immigrants. It's in every population. But whenever you have undocumented violent criminals, you look what happened down at UGA's campus. You know, this poor girl, I can't remember her name now, but, you know, she gets killed, raped, everything by an illegal. That is a tragic situation that should have been avoided. Especially considering that guy had been arrested multiple times. And that's just the reality of things. But if we want to go back into just Obama in 2009 with immigration, I mean, this highlights to me where you see the differences in people in politics, right? If you look at the political spectrum right now, right-wingers haven't really changed positions in like 40 years. It's a long time. They've been pretty steady where they're at. Right-wingers stay with the similar viewpoints. What's happened is on the political spectrum, the left goes more and more and more and more to the left. And it's happened over time. There's so many graphs to show this. I shouldn't even have to really give an example of it. You should understand that. I don't think it's that hard to see. But what we have now is whenever that happens, the middle of the road shifts to the left also. The average, per se, shifts to the left also. So when the average shifts, well, you look at Trump, you look at Elon. These guys that are now Republicans, this is why 20 years ago they were Democrats. Their policies and their viewpoints haven't changed. Nothing's changed. They stayed in the same spot. Well, when the left keeps on moving, well, now all of a sudden they lean right. And that's not how it's supposed to be. That's not really their true position. And that's why they're not really right-wingers. We elected them to be, you know, these ultra-right, ultra-Republican, whatever you want to call it, politicians. You know, we didn't elect Elon, but essentially we did. And they're not. They're just simply not. And that's the difference in politics in the last 20, 30, 40 years. A normal Democrat 20 years ago would be considered a normal Republican right now. And that's not crazy. That's not crazy to understand. It's not crazy to think about. It's just the reality of things. And it's why some people get so sick of politics. I mean, it's gotten so far out of hand. And I'm sorry, You may not like hearing this. The far left is out of control. I mean, anybody over there, you got to be thinking, what the heck is wrong with you? You see just corruption. You see immoral things happening over there. No, I don't stand with abortion. No, I don't stand with gays. Sorry. And the more you go to the left, the more you go towards abortions and gays and what should be allowed. You start getting into pedophilia. I mean, come on. Age is just a number. Y'all have heard that probably. That's a left-wing argument, which is really crazy considering the things we're going through right now with Epstein. But I mean, that's an issue with everybody, it seems like, at this point. But regardless, the immoral things happening tend to be on the left side. I think that's pretty clear. If you're watching this podcast, you probably think that as well. That's why most people tend to be more middle of the road. They're like, we'll go out here. Like, yeah, I want to help out illegals. Like, maybe I don't think abortions should be like advertised. That's where a lot of people fall. You know what? I get it. You have your belief. I'll give you that. I'm a right-winger. If you couldn't tell by the podcast name, I am a right-winger all the way. I am very far right. I have a way that I like to do things. I think it works. That's the reality of it. But I'll talk to you about it. I think we can be kind, but still talk politics. That's forgotten. Talk about 20 years ago? People were kind, but they can still talk politics. We've lost that now. It's just freaking insulting. Why are we insulting? What's the point of that? What good do we get other than a news article and publicity for insulting each other? None. That's why politics has gotten out of hand. And I actually seen one of the better takes that I've seen in a while here recently, just on the two-party system, Republicans, Democrats. It's been that way for a while now. And what I heard a lot of, and I even could say that I had this viewpoint, was, I voted for the lesser of two evils. I seen a meme this week that said, there isn't Democrats and Republicans. There's evil, and there's also evil, just more gay. I mean, and that's kind of the where we're at. It feels like there's two sides of evil here, and we're voting for the lesser of two evils. Well, here's the take on it: if you always vote for that lesser evil, why should they ever get better? Why should Trump hold his promises if you're going to vote for him regardless because you're not going to go that far to the left? You ever think about that? That's something we have to consider here. Why would he hold up his promises? This is a great take that I heard, and I never thought about it this way. Why would he hold up his promises if he doesn't have to? Hold him to it. Allow the Democrats to absolutely landslide him this midterm. Let the other Republicans be thinking about it going into 2028 election. Let them be thinking about, hey, I got to hold on to what I'm saying. Otherwise, they're not going to vote for me. They're not going to support me. Because right now, we just keep giving votes. I'm not saying you have to go vote for them, but don't vote if you have to. I think, honestly, at this point, not voting might be the better option. Don't vote in this election. Trump already came out and said regarding these Epstein files, if we want them released, we're not his supporters anymore. He doesn't need our support. Don't give it to him. Don't give it to the Republicans who are backing that. Why should we? What do we owe them? Nothing. We don't owe them our vote. We have to think about that. We don't owe them our vote. And they don't necessarily deserve it with the way they're doing things. They haven't held any promises. So take that thought and think about it. I mean, obviously we have a lot of time before these midterm elections. We have a lot of time to think about it. But I mean, this evil and evil system is just, it's not good. It's not good. And the checks and balances is running out as far as the citizens on our congressmen, because they just know they got our vote. You look at all these incumbents who end up winning. They got that R beside their name around here. That's why they win. They got an R. It says incumbent. Yeah, I'll vote for him. He's a good old boy. I'm not saying the guys around here are corrupt. I haven't looked into it a ton yet. But, I mean, my point is, just because they have an R right there, or a D if you're left-wing and watching this and got this far, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're for you. They just say they are, but are they actually backing what they say? Think that. So I hope y'all have a great night. I hope y'all enjoyed this podcast. This is episode 1. Hoping to have episode 2 within the coming days, and I'm sure you'll see lots of clips. But I appreciate y'all sticking around, and definitely follow, like, share. I mean, I'd love to spread this out and just spread political views. I mean, it's not super long, 20, 30 minutes. So hope y'all have a great night.